out of their group who was out and who they were looking for. Even during the day we said that Umar is absconding, but possibly not a lead or so big clue that he will undertake such a big action. All the doctors were arrested, they were detained, they were questioned, interrogated, and then one after another arrests and detentions were made. And slowly it happened that police was able to actually come out with the entire explanation of the story. Though just one piece and puzzle possibly remained, which was Umar, who possibly they were trying to hunt down, because there were J&K police teams outside Jammu and Kashmir who were looking for Umar ferociously, but they couldn't look for him because he had shut down his phone, he had stopped contacting his family. His family said that from the last 3 days he had asked them not to disturb him as he is busy with his exams of students, and he has some studies to do in the library, so he wouldn't be able to take a lot of calls. Then they found his phone number to be switched off, but police had gone to Pulwama, police had gone to every corner to look for him even outside, but he was stayed untraceable. But they never possibly knew that he is going to undertake such a big action. Shocking for the society, but yes, something where people will try to introspect, because it's the cream of the society. Any doctor getting radicalized is shocking indeed.
Yes, it's not just about the issue of radicalization on ground, but it's also about how, Kashmiris who are experiencing some fruits of development and mainstreaming are going to be looked at. When something like this comes to light, because we do want there should be more mainstreaming and faith and responsibility that has to be shown, but we have had these issues, and now for this to come out, this entire module to come out and to be linked to the Delhi blast, first of its kind in 14 years, it's of course raised everybody's eyebrows. But let's not forget in all of this the victims. There have been as many as 8 to 9 confirmed casualties. I want to go across to my colleague Ananya, who's actually been keeping track of those who have been killed or injured in this attack. Most of them were taken to the LNJP hospital nearby. Ananya, give me a sense of what you witnessed. What are the latest numbers? How are the injured doing as of now?
Well, absolutely. There were almost 20 plus people who have been injured in this particular incident, and 9 people per se have died. One body has not been able to identify because it was completely in parts, which is said to be of Umar, while the other 8 have been identified. In fact, one of the bodies of a particular person called Guman was actually in such a tragic stance that it was not having its head and legs, and the family was asked to identify, and it was a very, very tragic scene that unfolded outside, in fact, at the mortuary of the Maulana Azad Medical College, where these bodies were actually kept. Most of these bodies have been identified. The family has been given out these bodies after carrying out the clear postmortems, and only one body whose only minimal parts have been recovered is something that needs to be identified, and it is said to be of Umar. However, that could only be clear after the DNA sampling and the results of the DNA sampling that comes out. But also, Shivani, apart from the victims, the charges that have been leveled by, in fact, in the FIR, which is with regards to how Section 16 and 18 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which leads to a death penalty, is in fact a very, very stringent act. In fact, under UAPA, 30 days of police custody remand can be sought in one straight go, and that could actually help the investigators to actually unearth this larger conspiracy or this sinister plan that was being hashed. And a small pinch of it, which we saw in the national capital, which led to almost 8 people dead and many injured. Shivani.
Yes, absolutely. And it is those lives that have to be avenged. Ordinary Indians who were just out there earning their daily livelihoods, some of them the sole breadwinners for their families, they have perished in this attack. And this is why India's resolve will be to, of course, not only catch each and every one of the domestic conspirator and perpetrator, but also send down a very strong message internationally. I want to go across to our guest on that international message in just a bit. But before that, here's a reminder of the message that came from the Prime Minister and the Defence Minister earlier today.
इस घटना की जांच में जुटी सभी एजेंसियों के साथ, सभी महत्वपूर्ण लोगों के साथ संपर्क में था, विचार विमर्श चलता था, जानकारियों के तार जोड़े जा रहे थे। हमारी एजेंसियां इस षड्यंत्र की तह तक जाएगी। इसके पीछे के षड्यंत्रकारियों को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। All those responsible will be brought to justice.
All right, General Iyer, I'm coming back to you. You were talking about the fact that first, of course, we need to take care of the domestic perpetrators and conspirators, and then we will look at the international message. But this time around, if Operation Sindoor was to restart, was to be kick-started again, what could be the objectives this time? We know the enemy. We know that the enemy has only one agenda for their existence, which is anti-India and anti-Hindu agenda. How do you deal with that, and what objectives do you set for the next stage of this operation?
Shivani, this is a little tricky kind of a scenario for people to speculate. You know, after the Uri incident, we launched surgical strikes. After the Pulwama incidents, they launched airstrikes just across the line of control, just into mainland Pakistan, hitting their terror camps. Last time around, we targeted their headquarters. What would be the Indian options and response? It's very difficult to speculate, but let me tell you, the kind of escalation that is, expected out of it has already been calibrated. The plans would have been already put in place, and people who have to execute it are also aware of what they have to do. To that extent, I don't think there will be a very long loop to decide what would be the action. The government, I'm sure, is going to take its time. It's not going to be in a hurry. The very fact that the Prime Minister re-emphasize the aspect in English, which he did the last time also in Patna when he did that rally after the incident which took place in Pahalgam. And moment he brings this out, he is telling the international audience that India is now ready to respond to ensure that everybody who was responsible for this incident is brought to book. 2 or 3 things needs to be highlighted. Firstly, this is not just mainland India, it is in the capital of India. So the thing goes up, the meter goes up, the very degree of escalation goes up. And if you calculate the kind of explosives that have been taken out a day before and link it to this particular incident, and if those 2 incidents happen to be part of the same conspiracy, once the investigations are closed, that will actually give us much more reason to up the ante when we take a suitable response. I'm sure this time around we will be very clear in the manner in which the international organizations will be brought into around, so that we don't get into a situation when we are going and justifying our actions later. Suitable action will be taken, and I'm sure it will be a level.
So I'll just interrupt you here briefly, General Iyer. Just stay with me. I do have to slip into a very short break, but we are keeping a very close watch on the developments that are taking place, particularly an eye on the investigations. We'll get you more with our reporters. Our guests and experts will also stay with us. We'll be back with you after a very short break.
Last owner of this used vehicle is from the Shambura village in Pulwama, and guess where the Pulwama connection takes us?
These people are executioners, facilitators, planners, etc. But the mastermind is Maulvi Irfan, who has instigated them.
It's a joint link between Jaish and ISIS are coming and clubbing together for something like what happened in Delhi yesterday.
Targeting women who are professionals, who are highly educated, has been a modus operandi that terror groups have been following some time now.
How suspected to us
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
on the cleric whose link has now emerged to all of these doctors and those moving from Jammu and Kashmir to Al Falah University. This is a big CNN News 18 exclusive. We are decoding this man who's becoming an important figure behind this attack, Maulvi Irfan, who seems to have played a crucial role in radicalizing these medical doctors and students. He was a paramedic in exactly this college that we were talking about, in the government medical college in Srinagar, and was in touch with all students where they all studied. Later he was an imam in Nagaon Mosque. Remember, Nagaon is also the area where those posters emerged first. So it's all really a web of link between all of these individuals and these places. For more on this, let me go across to my colleague Anand, who continues to be with us. Anand.
Well, this was the question, isn't it? Who was the person and how did these educated individuals get radicalized? That question is being answered by this fact that it is Maulvi Irfan who's the link towards radicalizing all these individuals. And how? Who named Maulvi Irfan? Arif Nisar Dar, Yasirul Ashraf and Maqsood Ahmad Dar. All three of them residents of Nogam, the OGWs who were putting these posters of the Jaish. Now, why is it, how is it that they knew Maulvi Irfan? Because he is the Maulvi of the Nogam Mosque. But where was he before he became a Maulvi of this Nogam Mosque? Irfan was a paramedic